It's war, lives are at risk, the stakes are very, very high, events are moving quickly, mistakes get made. The question is, how quickly do you correct your mistakes? Israeli police deserve credit. Yes, they made a mistake over the weekend, a serious mistake. But once they realized it, they took ownership and they fixed it fast. At the insistence of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and President Isaac Herzog, in keeping with Israel's long-standing and bedrock principle of protecting religious freedom for Christians, Jews, Muslims, and all others, the police quickly reopened the Church of the Holy Sepulchre during Holy Week to allow leaders and worshipers to gather for Palm Sunday and Resurrection Sunday. Amen. Hi, this is Joel Rosenberg in Jerusalem with a YouTube exclusive for the Rosenberg Report on the Patriarch, Palm Sunday, and the Israeli police. On Saturday, Israeli police blocked the country's top Roman Catholic leader, widely known as the Latin Patriarch, and a small group of his colleagues from entering and praying at the Church of the Holy Sepulchre here in Jerusalem. It wasn't just any Saturday. It was the Saturday before Palm Sunday, the day marking 2,000 years ago that Jesus of Nazareth entered this city, entered Jerusalem, riding on a donkey, just as the ancient Hebrew prophecies said that the Messiah would arrive here in Zion, heralded by thousands of Jews waving palm branches and shouting, Hosanna. Now, technically, the police officials protecting the Church of the Holy Sepulchre were just doing their job, okay? Iranian missiles have been targeted against holy sites here in the Holy City in recent weeks. One struck very close to the Al-Aqsa Mosque and the Western Wall just the other day. Shrapnel from another intercepted Iranian missile also crashed down on the roof of a building right next to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. It is a very dangerous environment. All, not some, all of these iconic holy sites are closed right now. The old city of Jerusalem is a ghost town as the wicked Iranian regime fires hundreds of missiles and suicide drones at Israeli cities and civilians. But the Israeli police should have been more sensitive. They should have realized that it was not wrong and certainly not illegal for the Patriarch of the Roman Catholic Church to be allowed to enter the most important church in Christendom with just a handful of people, even in the midst of this war. They should have allowed the Patriarch and his small entourage to enter. They made a mistake, and their mistake sparked a global outrage. Within 10 hours, there were 358,000 posts. That's right, 358,000 posts on X alone expressing outrage that Israel was persecuting Christians, treating Christians in Israel cruelly, blocking access to all Christian holy sites, and on and on and on. But here's the truth. By the time that so many people were attacking Israel from all over the globe, saying that we are haters of Christianity and so forth, the mistake had already been corrected. Okay? U.S. Ambassador Mike Huckabee had publicly and privately urged Israeli authorities to correct their error and to do it quickly. Okay? Israeli President Isaac Herzog went on X, social media, to say that he had called the Patriarch, Cardinal Pierbattista, Pizzaballa, to apologize and to assure him that the situation was being corrected. I immediately wrote on Saturday night on X that this was a mistake by the police. It was a serious mistake. But I thanked both Ambassador Huckabee and Israeli President Isaac Herzog for moving quickly to get it fixed. And very quickly thereafter, it was. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu explained on social media that he had instructed the relevant authorities to grant Cardinal Pizzaballa, quote, full and immediate access to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre in Jerusalem, unquote. Here's another quote from Netanyahu, quote, over the past several days, Iran has repeatedly targeted the holy sites of all three monotheistic religions in Jerusalem with ballistic missiles. In one strike, missile fragments crashed meters from the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. To protect worshipers, Israel asked members of all faiths, to temporarily abstain from worshiping at Christian, Muslim, and Jewish holy sites in Jerusalem's Old City, Netanyahu explained. I continue with his quote. Today, out of a special concern for his safety, Cardinal Pizzaballa was asked to refrain from holding Mass at the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. Even though I understand this concern, as soon as I learned about the incident, Prime Minister Netanyahu wrote, as soon as I learned about the incident with Cardinal Pizzaballa, I instructed the authorities to enable the Patriarch to hold services as he wishes, end quote. Good. Good. The work of Netanyahu and President Herzog, it worked. Okay? Israeli police authorities quickly announced that an agreement had been reached to allow limited prayer in the Church of the Holy Sepulchre despite ongoing security measures, saying, quote, a mutual framework has been established for the upcoming Easter ceremonies after a productive meeting with Cardinal Pizzaballa. Due to the complex security reality of Operation Roaring Lion, ceremonies including the Holy Fire ceremony, which happens at the Church of the Holy Sepulchre every year, will be held in a symbolic, though limited format, the police explained in their statement. This coordination ensures the freedom of worship is maintained alongside our shared primary duty, the protection of human life, unquote. Israel's President Isaac Herzog immediately praised the agreement reached between the local police commanders and Cardinal Pizzaballa. Quote, I warmly welcome the understandings reached this morning between the commanders of the Israeli police in Jerusalem and the Latin Patriarch, his Beatitude, Cardinal Pierbattista Pizzaballa, during their meeting together with a representative of the office of the President of Israel to settle arrangements for Easter prayers in the Old City of Jerusalem, President Herzog said in a statement. President Herzog continued, I reiterate the unwavering commitment of the State of Israel to the freedom of worship for all people of all faiths and the importance of upholding the status quo at the holy sites in Jerusalem. On behalf of the State of Israel, I extend my warmest wishes for the upcoming Easter holiday to the Latin Patriarch, to our Christian sisters and brothers in the Holy Land, and to our Christian friends across the Middle East and around the world. Now, I appreciate so much how quickly President Herzog, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, moved to resolve this situation. And I just want to make it clear, the eruption of attack, vicious, cruel, inaccurate attacks against the State of Israel, as though we have somehow some effort to block Christians from celebrating Palm Sunday or Easter Sunday, Resurrection Sunday. This is insane, okay? And you're not seeing the exact same people, the 358,000 attacks on X alone, not to mention Facebook and Instagram and so forth, TikTok, against Israel just in those first hours when this mistake was made. And I'm acknowledging it's a mistake, but to pour out nearly 500,000 attacks on the State of Israel, the leaders of Israel, the character of Israel, as though we're somehow anti-Christian, is insane. Okay, it's just insane. I'm an Israeli citizen, and I'm a follower of Jesus Christ. I'm an evangelical. I respect my Roman Catholic friends and colleagues. I respect my Orthodox friends and colleagues and those of other Christian denominations. And I can tell you there are challenges that every Israeli Christian faces, but we have freedom of worship here. We really have freedom of worship. We don't have challenges like they have in Iran, where they'll arrest you and torture you, put you in prison, and maybe execute you because you believe in Jesus Christ, because you read the Bible, because you want to share the Bible, you want to teach the Bible, and you want to preach the gospel and make disciples and plant churches. That's what Iran does. That's what the Iranian regime does. Okay, that's what other radical Islamist, much less apocalyptic Islamist regimes in this region, that's what they do. Israel is fantastic when it comes to the legal protections of Christians. I'm not saying there aren't mistakes sometimes. I'm not saying that extremists don't attack Christians at times. But by and large, the police immediately go prosecute these folks. Should they do more? Of course they should do more. Are some of these inevitable? Yes, some of them are inevitable, but they have to be corrected. They have to be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. And I'm encouraged overall, okay, by how the Israeli police handle these issues. And I really appreciate Prime Minister Netanyahu and President Herzog, who've been very outspoken and very intentional, forward-leaning in making sure that Christians here in Israel do feel safe, that we do have free and unfettered access to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre and the Garden of Gethsemane and Christian sites all over the country, including the Sea of Galilee area. It's amazing how free you can be. I'm not restricted as an Israeli follower of Jesus to that I'm not allowed to talk about my faith, that I'm not allowed to share my faith, that I'm not allowed to buy a Bible, read a Bible, print a Bible, share a Bible. No, I'm allowed to share my faith. As every Christian, we're allowed to go to these holy sites, and I'm glad. It was a mistake, and it was that the Israeli police didn't let the Patriarch into the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. But let's be clear, why? Why did those police officers that were guarding and trying to protect the church, why did they make that decision? Because that's the rules right now, is that you can't have gatherings in any holy place, not Christian holy places, not Muslim holy sites, not Jewish holy sites. The Western Wall, that whole plaza is a ghost town right now. There's nobody there except a few police officers to make sure that nobody's there. Why? Because we're trying to keep everyone safe, especially during this holy time, Ramadan, Passover, and Holy Week, and Resurrection Sunday. We're trying to keep people safe, not gathering in small numbers or large. In a situation where they could be hit by a missile from Iran or even from the shrapnel of a missile shot down coming from Iran. So this is a big deal. We don't want religious people, secular people, or any people to be in danger. And that's why the rules exist, okay? Yes, the Israeli police should have realized this is the Patriarch. It's a small group of people. They're going inside. They probably won't be in danger inside this ancient building. They made a mistake, but they owned it quickly, they corrected it quickly, and good for them. Because, and this is the main point, because Israel protects religious freedom. And I just have to say, when the Jordanian government, and I'm not being critical of the Jordanian government now, they do a good job protecting the religious freedoms of Christians in Jordan. There are challenges there, there are. We need to pray for the Christians of Jordan, particularly the evangelicals. But I would say that when the Kingdom of Jordan controlled the old city of Jerusalem, pre-1967, Jews didn't get to go to the Western Wall. Christians from the West, or from Israel, we certainly didn't get to go to the holy sites. There was a blockade. It was like East Berlin and West Berlin. That's the way it was. There wasn't protection of the holy sites for all Jews and all Christians, in addition to Muslims, being able to go wherever they wanted and worship where they wanted, as they wanted. But that changed after June 1967. Israel has done a very good job protecting these sites and protecting religious freedom. And I know this because I live here, because I've been coming back and forth here for almost 40 years. And I'm encouraged by the freedom and the growth of the Christian community here in Israel. Keep praying for us, but please don't listen to the lies and the vicious slander and the attacks of haters all over the world, not just in the Muslim world, but in the United States, in Canada, and Europe, that are attacking Israel as though we are against Christians. Israel is super supportive of Christians, and we look forward to this war being over, being won. We want victory over the Iranian regime and Hezbollah, and then to reopen the country to all tourists, and especially to Christian pilgrims who want to come and walk where Jesus walked. We're going to have our own epicenter summit with hopefully 3,000 evangelical Christians and other Christians from all over the world gathering here in Jerusalem next April. We're going to have tours. We're encouraging pastors to start planning tours now for April of next year, 2027, because this is going to be over soon, in the next month or two. The smoke will clear, and then Christians will be able to come back and see the places where Jesus walked, where he taught, where he ministered, where he died, where he rose again. From Jerusalem, this is Joel Rosenberg with a YouTube exclusive for the Rosenberg Report. Happy Resurrection Sunday. He has risen. He's risen indeed.